it's about making sure that we have a Wisconsin Supreme Court that is independent.
If courts aren't objective, then they're not doing their function under the Constitution.
We're back with the big deal. Next week's Supreme Court election in Wisconsin has broken records. It's now the most expensive judicial race in American history. Judges Susan Crawford and Brad Schimmel are competing for a 10-year term on the state's highest court. Election day is next Tuesday. That's when it will be decided. The contest is more than just a local race. Analysts see it as a major test of support or opposition to President Trump's power just 2 months into his term. While the judicial contest is technically nonpartisan, the race has attracted tens of millions of dollars from outside groups, most notably from billionaire businessman Elon Musk, the White House senior advisor, who was also the largest donor to the Trump campaign last fall. Musk's opponents have gone on a fundraising campaign in an attempt to offset the businessman's level of influence. The candidates are making their closing arguments to voters, and Spectrum News reporter Anthony DeBruzzi has the latest from Wisconsin in this report.
If you want them to be safe, don't vote for him.
The candidates for Wisconsin's highest court calling each other out in what's become the most expensive judicial race in American history.
This man was caught with child porn. Schimmel gave him a plea deal.
Spending in the Badger State is shattering the previous record of $56 million put into the 2023 race for state Supreme Court, as even presidents, past and present, are now weighing in.
Breaking news tonight, President Donald Trump is officially weighing in.
Former Attorney General turned Circuit Court Judge Brad Schimmel is using one of his last ads to highlight an endorsement from President Donald Trump.
Trump's right. If we elect Susan Crawford to the Supreme Court, none of the good that he's trying to do nationally will trickle down to Wisconsin.
While former President Barack Obama took to social media to share his support for former prosecutor and Circuit Court Judge Susan Crawford in what's technically a nonpartisan race.
Fundamentally, it's about making sure that we have a Wisconsin Supreme Court that is independent and fair and impartial and is working for the people of Wisconsin.
As voters get ready to go to the polls on April 1st, the candidates are making their closing arguments.
What do you feel is most at stake for Wisconsinites?
The stability of our state. If courts aren't objective, then they're not doing their function under the Constitution.
Wisconsin doesn't cap contributions to political parties, nor is there a limit to how much money a party can give a candidate.
That is how I was raised.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and liberal philanthropist George Soros are putting up cash for Crawford, while billionaire Elon Musk is not only backing Schimmel, but offering $100 to Wisconsinites who sign a petition against so-called activist judges.
They're literally buying votes, and that doesn't feel appropriate to me.
But not everyone feels the same about the spending surge.
I would say both sides are trying to influence the election. Everybody wants their guy to win. So that's what's wonderful about voting.
Voting that just a week before the election was up by 48% from 2 years ago, when Wisconsin had yet another spirited Supreme Court race in the national spotlight. Anthony DeBruzzi, Spectrum News.
Joining me now is Ari Berman, the national voting rights correspondent from Mother Jones Magazine and the author of Minority Rule, the right-wing attack on the will of the people and the fight to resist it. Welcome, Ari. And before we get to the politics, I don't want to overlook what might be the obvious. Elon Musk has a financial self-interest here. His company Tesla is currently suing Wisconsin over a law that blocks Tesla from opening car dealerships there. Whatever else is going on, he may be trying to buy a victory so that he can change the court, change the law, and put more money in his pocket, right?
Hey, Errol, great to see you. Yes, there's a lot of layers to this. There's obviously the ideological and power dimensions. Musk wants a court that's going to be favorable to the interests of Republicans, favorable to the interests of him and Trump. There's also a self-interest, which is that, as you said, Tesla is currently suing the state of Wisconsin to allow it to directly sell cars there. That could go all the way to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and he wants a hand-picked justice who will rule on that case.
Last time I spoke to you, we talked about Wisconsin because it gets a lot of national attention. It's a 50-50 state, nearly equal numbers of Republicans and Democrats. One U.S. senator is Democratic, one is Republican. The Republicans control the state legislature. The Democrats have the governor's mansion. but there are 6 Republican members of Congress and only 2 Democrats. If the lines get redrawn, that's likely to change. Is that kind of at the core of this fight?
That's what Musk said was his most important issue, was preventing Democrats from having a fair shot of picking up more seats in Wisconsin in the U.S. House. Because, as you mentioned, right now, Republicans have a 6-2 advantage. If that congressional map was struck down by the progressive majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, there's a chance Democrats could pick up 1 or 2 more seats. Given how narrow the House is right now, that could make a big difference. And of course, if Democrats take back the House, they're going to scrutinize Musk and all the things he's doing, all the ways he's dismantling the federal government, the $38 billion in federal contracts he has. There's a lot of stuff they're going to look at, and Musk doesn't want that to happen.
The other issue at stake for the rest of us, of course, is abortion. Would a loss of the liberal majority on the state Supreme Court in Wisconsin mean a ban in that state on abortion?
Effectively, yes, because Wisconsin has an 1849 abortion ban. The Republican-controlled legislature refuses to change it, and this litigation is pending before the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Everyone expects the progressive majority to strike it down. But if the court flips back to a conservative majority, they're likely to uphold the law. The conservative candidate running for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, Brad Schimmel, who has been endorsed by Donald Trump, says he doesn't see anything wrong with that law. So Wisconsin has national ramifications in terms of being such a closely contested 50-50 state. I think if an 1849 abortion ban was allowed to stand there, that would be a blow for abortion rights, not just in Wisconsin, but one that could have ramifications across the country in terms of what other states do.
Now, last year, President Trump won Wisconsin by less than 30,000 votes. It was actually the closest of all the swing states. Democrats are trying to prevent that from happening. Is this really just a kind of a dead heat, or do you think there's a deciding factor that we might see in the next week?
It's such an unpredictable race because we've never seen so much money come in, with Musk giving $20 million. No donor has ever given that money to any judicial election anywhere in the history of the country. So, I mean, on the one hand, you have all the money that's going in on the Republican and conservative side. At the same time, Democrats are furious about this, and they're trying to use this race as a proxy battle to strike a blow against the Trump administration and what Musk is doing in Washington. So both sides are motivated in different kind of ways. Republicans have the money, Democrats have the manpower, and we're going to see which side wins. But it's very hard to know in a contest where there's going to be much lower turnout than a presidential election.
Okay, we will be watching. Thank you so much for all of that insight, Ari Berman. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.